It is Thursday before 4th of July, and around here we are packing bags and coolers and running shoes. We're going on a short vacation to Wisconsin for a few days, looking forward to unplugging. I haven't really unplugged in a while, with all the craziness of these last 4 months and constantly kind of figuring out what God has for us and how we do this current phase. And so I'm just really looking forward to unplugging. But before we head, I wanted to share some encouragement with you. And I have some good news for you today. And I can't wait to share it with you. And here's what I feel like God is saying. I was looking at the story of Gideon, and Gideon was a man who was, and he lived in the day. His story is in Judges 6 and 7, and I'm going to focus in on Judges 7. And Gideon was a man that God chose to be leader for Israel, and at this point they had some enemies. The Midians were rotten to them, and God wanted to deliver Israel from the Midians' oppression and just bring freedom for Israel. And so he picked Gideon, and he put Gideon over an army, over the Israel army. And at the start of this army that they were going to go fight the Midians, they had 32,000 men. Gideon had 32,000 well-abled guys behind him that would go fight for Israel. And God looked at that army, and he wasn't like, yes, I can do something with this army. He looked at that army and he said, this is too many men. And he needed to whittle that army down. And the reason is that he didn't want Israel to have any idea in their own minds that they themselves brought the victory over Midian, that they did it by their numbers, that they did it by their ability. And so God said, hey, here's what we're going to do. I want you to go through the army, and anyone who is afraid, send them home, right? Send them home. And so 22,000 men left, and that left 10,000 in that army. Well, quick math, 10,000 were left in that army. And God looked at that army, and he said, this is too many men still. I know how men work. I know how they think. I know it's in their heart. And they are so quick to take credit on themselves and success on themselves and think this was their own doing and their own strength and their own sufficiency. And so once again, God had Gideon take the men, and he, of course, it's so funny how this worked out, but they went for a drink. They went to the watering hole, and anyone who, he was watching the 2 different ways that people could drink water, and they could either scoop it up and lap it or just drink right out of the water. And God sent home another group of people, and only 300 men remained at this point. And God looked at those 300 men, and he was like, this is perfect. This army is perfect. I can bring victory about through this army, and then Israel will know that I did it, that I am the one behind success. And the deal is today, I feel like God does this same thing in our lives, where he thins out our army. And he does it purposefully so that he alone can get credit for victory, so that he alone can get credit for success, so that he alone can get glory. We know that he does not want to share his glory with another. And so I want to ask that question today. I want us to say, listen, we're going to have moments in our life when God thins out our army. This is going to be a regular part of our life, right? And we're going to look around and we're going to go, God, how am I supposed to parent under circumstances, right? You have thinned out my ability. You have thinned out my confidence. You have thinned out my self-sufficiency in this moment. God, how are you do what you said in this life? We look around at the circumstances. We look around at our resource, right? Maybe God has thinned out some finances. Maybe God has thinned out some of our emotional strength or our confidence, right? And we look around and we're like, God, how are you going to do the things you promised? And Gideon had to be feeling that way with 300 men when God had thinned out that army. And as a church, we are looking at buying and building a building. And I find myself right here at this very crossroads where Gideon must have been looking around going, God, how are you going to do that with what you've thinned out? Our natural bank accounts and my ability, and I've never bought land, I've never built a church, I don't know the first thing about how to do this, right? And we're looking at this task in front of us. We're looking at a lot and meeting with the villages and builders and contractors and just starting, that's down the line. We're not quite there yet. We're just at this point kind of looking at some land. But I feel like God has thinned out our army. I truly do. And I believe that God has thinned it out so that he would say, so I alone get credit, so that you turn to me and you go, only God gets the glory for this one. This promise being fulfilled, only God could have done this. I know, out of my own strength, out of what I had in my account, I could not have done it. And so I believe that God is doing that, just an example of what he's doing with us as a church and my life. But I know that if you're not in this phase right now where you say you could look around and, oh, God has sent out my army, that there will come a day, and there's been a day in your past where, again, it's the goodness of God, that even though that army feels thin, he is preparing you for victory. He is preparing you for the glorious future that he promised. He's preparing you for what is ahead, despite what you feel like you have on your side. And so that is really my encouragement, where you don't feel equipped, where you don't feel like those things could come to be, that he has said, I want to say, is God preparing you for a victory that only he could bring. So that's just how it's going to go on this earth. And so I want us to pull Gideon into our today and our tomorrow, and just know, you know what, sometimes God thins out our army, but yet he will do all he has promised, all he has said. He's preparing you for a glorious, amazing future. We will see you Sunday, and we will be here Facebook Live, and we will be in person on our lawn, and it's not too late to register. If you haven't yet, you can still get in on that. Still some spots left. Just want to encourage you to do that. But we'll be streaming some live worship. You get two choices this Sunday. There's going to be an 8:30 and a 9:45. So you can stream at either one or at both. Kevin's going to be preaching on the kingdom of God and the reality of the kingdom and what it means for our lives today. So that's all I got. Have a great 4th of July. Be careful with those fireworks. Stay safe and enjoy your time. See you soon.